Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. So you guys enjoyed the previous posing analysis video so much that I'm gonna make sure that I keep doing it because one, I really enjoy them, and two, I just wanna make sure that I can make this channel as educational as I can, as well as, you know, showing you my life and what I get up to. So within today's video, we're going to be talking about two separate shows. We're going to be talking about the Clash and the Optimum Classic. These two shows were happening at the same time, so I think it would be really interesting to go through the top two for both of these shows. So both of these shows were really good, deep shows again. Like last time we spoke about the Pittsburgh Pro, how there was so many Olympians and so many athletes at this show. There were a lot less Olympians in these shows, but there was still quite a deep show. There's still quite a lot of girls that showed up, which was really, really cool to see. So I'm really excited to kind of get into this video. So firstly, we're going to talk about the Optimum Classic, and the top two for that was Ashley Coatswater, who won, and Serena Swan, who got second to Ashley. So both of these routines are both very different, and they both brought very similar looks in terms of how you see them on stage. So in terms of the bikini, they both had green suits, they both have obviously dark hair, so it was nice to see a similarity there. And it's actually the same with the Clash. The Clash also had both of the top two. First was in red, second was in red. So let's get into it and talk about Ashley to start off with. So we obviously spoke about Ashley last time in the Pittsburgh Pro, and I do think that, one, I really love her look. I actually think I prefer the green look over the red look with the straight hair, because it just is very much like an OG Ashley vibe, which I really like. I like seeing her in the green because that's what when I used to watch her on stage back in the day in like 2016, 17, she was kind of wearing those green colors again then. So it's nice to see kind of those colors again. And a lot of people always ask me and say, like, do you need to stick to the same colors for every single show? And Ashley is a pure kind of example of this. You really don't. As long as your bikini is complementing to your skin complexion, your skin tone, and it doesn't take away from your physique. Like if it's too distracting and if it's a really, really bright out there color and it, like I said, takes away from your physique, then it really doesn't matter what bikini color you wear, as long as it overall brings a good bikini look. It looks good on you, it looks good overall on your body, that's all that matters. Yeah, like I said before, I think I do really much prefer this green look with the straight hair. I just think it brings her whole look just there together more. Yeah, I prefer it a lot more. So she didn't do a walk to the back of the stage, which I think is just down to a stage thing. It looks like the stage might be a little bit smaller, so she didn't have much of a walkway, but it shows that she's changing up her routine just a little bit to see what works for her. And I'm probably sure that she's changing this up to see what kind of fits best for when she goes into the Olympia. So obviously I still think, like we said in the last video, she still needs to obviously have a look at making her walk to the back flow a little bit more. But I do like the way that she goes from this pose straight into her front pose. I do actually think that fits and flows better with her overall routine. Next, we have Serena Swan, who got second. Now, I really like Serena Swan's walk forwards. I think she has a very strong walk to the front. She has a lot of hip movement, a lot of movement with the hands in general, but it works for her. And I think it looks really nice because, again, sometimes you can't control the hips as much when you walk forwards, but when you can control them, it looks great. What I also like about this is she doesn't go straight into her front pose. She goes into kind of her model pose, which is quite a strong pose for her to show off her waistline, to show off the, you know, projection of her glutes, showing off her shoulder caps before then going into her front pose. I like that pose on her, and she probably knows it's a strength of hers. She's obviously going to show it as her first pose when she gets to the front, which is quite a hard thing to do sometimes. She's got nice, clean transitions, nice flow. I think one thing I think she could probably improve on just going into the back pose is just having a little bit more hip movement. So sitting into the hips a little bit more when you go to the back. From 1, 2, land 3. So I always try and think, when I say 1, 2, 3, that's kind of my cue I use for swaying the hips from side to side. A lot of people usually tend to go 1 sway and then land in the middle. What I usually like to do is do it a 1, 2, 3. So sway 1, sway 2, land 3 when you're going into your back pose. It overall looks a lot more controlled when you're doing that 1, 2, 3 count, and it doesn't look as kind of stopped. So I think Serena could definitely sit into her second hip a little bit bit more when she's going into her back pose. But overall has a good flow to the actual routine. She has really good movement. One thing I do like to see when she does in a minute, when she walks to the back of the stage, is I've seen this a lot in pro routines where they're just doing kind of a 2-step walk to the back and then turning around, which I like the idea of the routines being shorter, more clean cut, and just more of a dance versus kind of going from walking all the way to the back of the stage, then stopping and then walking forwards. It just sometimes lengthens the routine out for too long. So I do like the idea of having a slightly shorter routine and keeping the movement consistent. So next we're going to go on to the Klash Championships, which was the same weekend as the Optimum Classic. And we had Maria winning this show, which is a huge accomplishment because I think this is her first pro win. So massive congrats. And obviously she's going to the Olympia, which is incredible. So there's a lot of things I really like about her routine. Mainly the first one is she's so slow and controlled. She very much reminds me of Amy's routine, where she's very, very controlled. She has a lot of facial expressions to her when she's going in and out of her poses, and even when she's walking forwards, you can see she has a lot of expression to her face, even when walking forwards. Sometimes when we're walking forwards, it's hard to remember to kind of keep our facials there. So I love how she just keeps that there the entire time. And in and out of all of her transitions, her poses, everything, she's very poised. She has a lot of control. She knows where she is, because I feel like sometimes it's easy to just go in and out of the poses and just go from pose to pose and just not know what to do. The one thing I do see in her posing, which I think she can improve on, is how she gets into her front pose. Now, you can see it a little bit where her arm, she tends to have a lot more a fidgeting movement when going into it, which could be a nervous thing, or it could be kind of like a tightness thing or whatever, but I do think that that arm doesn't fit with the rest of the routine. So if she was to allow that to be just a little bit smoother and allow one smooth movement, that would look a lot better. It's even at the beginning of the routine when she goes into her front pose from the beginning here to here. So it's more of a habit now. So obviously you can tell she practices maybe getting into the pose like that. So I think if she was to make that arm just a little more fluent, I think that would fit with the rest of the routine. And next up, in second place, we had Julia, which I think it's pronounced Julia. And I love her routine. Again, I say I love all of these girls' routines purely because everyone looks great. All these routines look absolutely stunning. Everyone looks great when they're up there on stage. That's the main thing. I think everyone looks great, but there is always things to work on. I did get a comment the other day, I think it's saying about not all the routines are great because there's things to work on. That doesn't mean that they're not great as well. And it doesn't mean that their routines aren't good. It's just, there's always something to work on. Even the perfect routine, there is always something to work on. So we always have to remember that. I think she has very strong poses. You can really tell she's really been precise with making sure that she's in the right position, like footwork wise, handwork wise. She gets into it very consistently. You can see the one thing I think she could probably do a little differently is have just a little bit more slowness to her overall routine. Like Maria had beforehand. You can see that she's very slow going into the movements and there's no kind of extra movements in general. She's very slow and controlled. So I think if Julia was to bring that into her routine a little bit when she's on stage, I think she would 100% get that win that she's looking for. And I think her body in general is absolutely stunning. I think it's just a case of making sure we can control the movements a little bit more and just allow it to be more presentational versus just going from pose to pose, if that makes sense. So, but again, she has a stunning routine and it's about now showcasing it off to her own abilities. And that is the top two for the Optimum Classic and the Klash Championships. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoy doing these videos, I honestly do. And if you didn't already know, I am the CEO of the Posing Portal. So if you don't know what the Posing Portal is, it is one of the best ways to learn and correct your posing, and you can do video assessments on there. You can book posing sessions with me. There's a whole video library. There's loads of things that can help you overall improve your posing. And if you don't already follow the Instagram page, make sure you do, because it gives you a lot more educational videos as well. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all those things, and even actually comment down below any videos you would want me to do, or who would you like me to actually review next, because I know a few people have obviously said, like, I'd love to see this person, I'd love to see that person. So comment down below any pros you'd want me to review next in the next upcoming videos, and yeah, I'm excited to do so. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon.